Hi, I am Lindsay Punong Bayan. I'm going to report the definition and history of architecture. Architecture is the art of designing buildings and other structures, which will serve a definite function. Structure would range the simplest shelter to high-rise structure to meet the demands of the modern city and its growing population. The history of architecture. The history of architecture is about as long as the history of humanity itself, and probably just as complex. The exact origin of architecture could be said to date to the Neolithic period around 10,000 BC, or simply when the people stopped living in the cave and started handling the way they want their house to look and feel like. The architecture that we're talking about today is commonly assessed through visual terms and subject to ocular perception, but this urge to design the architectural artifacts was fluid by much more than a mere for aesthetic appeal. Architecture has proven to be many things: comfy, elegant, modern, brutal, indexical, vernacular, and yet one of its most interesting aspect is the capacity to reflect the spirit of time in a way that might be even more substantial than how we see it happen with art. The parallelism of the history of architecture to human history is justified by its strong material present that serve as the best physical evidence of society change. Just looking at the building made in different places at a different moment in time would help us understand the evolution of architecture and our past without using any word. Human action were embodied the architecture and further clarified through the persistent endeavor to protect some of the build heritage to decide to let the rest of it fade and decay.
Types of architecture. Landscape architecture is the art and practice of designing the outer environment, especially designing parks or gardens together with building and roads. Kadalasan natin itong nakikita sa mga parks, gardens, at ng mga building na malalaki na puno ng mga halaman. Interior architecture is the design of the building or shelter from inside out, or the design of a new interior for a type of home that can be fixed. Inaayos nito at pinapaganda ang loob ng bahay. Naval architecture or naval engineering is an engineering discipline incorporating elements of mechanical, electrical, electronic, software, and safety engineering as applied to the engineering design process, shipbuilding, maintenance, and operation of marine vessels and structures. Ito naman ang paggawa, pagdisenyo ng mga barko, yate, at marami pang iba.
Ito ang ilan sa mga famous person in architecture. Zaha Mohammad Hadid, isang British architect from Baghdad, Iraq. Isa rin siya sa kilala bilang The Guardian of London as the Queen of the Curve. Pinanganak siya noong October 31, 1950 sa Baghdad, Iraq at namatay noong March 31, 2016 sa Mount Sinai Medical Center, Miami Beach, Florida, United States. Ilan sa mga artworks ni Zaha na nagawa ay ang The World 89 Degrees at ang Victoria City. Ito rin ang ilan sa kanyang mga buildings: Serpentine Galleries, the London Aquatic Center, at ang Bridge Pavilion in Saragossa. Frank Lloyd Wright, isang American architect, designer, writer at educator. Ipinanganak siya noong June 8, 1867 sa Richland Center, Wisconsin, United States at namatay noong April 9, 1959 sa St. Joseph Hospital and Medical Center. Ilan sa mga artworks ni Frank ay ang Exterior View of a City at ang Taliesin Line of Decorative. Ito rin ang ilan sa kanyang structures: Falling Water at ang Frank Lloyd Wright Home and Studio. Norman Foster, isa siyang presidente of the Foster Foundation. Pinanganak siya noong June 1, 1935 sa Redditch, Stockport, United Kingdom. Ito ang ilan sa kanyang mga structures: 30 Street Mary Axe, Hearst Tower, Apple Park.
I am Sams Arcis of BPED 11 and these are the elements of architecture art. The first element is line. So, familiar naman po tayo kung ano yung architecture. Sa architecture, importante po itong mga lines na ito dahil through lines, na-identify natin or na-visualize natin kung ano ba yung ating binubuo. Parang yung lines ay yung nagsisilbing outline or base para mabuo yung isang image, para makita natin kung ano ba yung fina-form ng image na ito. Texture expresses something of the quality of materials, gives a particular quality to light. So, meron po tayong two examples of texture. The first one is tactile texture or actual or physical texture. Pag sinabi po nating tactile texture, ibig sabihin ito po ay tumutukoy sa mga solid surfaces like woods or grains. Pag sinabi naman po nating visual texture, when we say visual, ito po yung nakikita natin. Visual texture are produced by the patterns given to the lighting of the surface, both through the way the materials are worked. So, yun nga, visual texture is yung nakikita natin. But sometimes, through visual texture, nagko-convey din ito ng message sa mga nakakakita sa kanya or sa nakatingin sa kanya. Color is characteristic of all building materials, constant feature of architecture. It is also the most impermanent element of architecture. So, alam naman po natin yan at nakikita natin sa lahat, sa schools man yan, buildings, or sa bahay man natin, ay meron po tayong color. Pero, itong color nga na ito ay hindi siya naglalast ng matagal na panahon. It changes with the weathering and staining of materials. The values that are associated with color yellow and red, for instance, are called gray. Black and deep blue are called somber. So, color is a sense of expression din ng isang artist or ng isang organization. For example, sa school, kung ano ba yung color nila, it has something to do sa kung ano yung ini-aim po nila. Lastly, shape. Shape is a defined area that is flat. Shape is a two-dimensional area confined by actual line or an implied line. So, sa architecture po, meron po tayong tinatawag na geometric shapes and free-form or organic shape. Geometric shape can be described using mathematical terms. They are very regular or precise. At madalas ay man-made siya dahil mas madali nga siyang i-produce. Ang mga examples ng geometric shapes are squares, rectangles, triangles, circle, oval, pentagons, at marami pa pong iba. Yan po yung tinatawag nating geometric shapes. The next is freeform or organic shapes. Ito naman po ay mahirap i-describe using definitions. At bihira lang din siyang makita at hindi siya even. More found in nature. Examples of freeform or organic shapes are clouds, puddles, trees, leaves, rocks, and so on. So, pag sinabi po nating freeform, ay more on, makikita po natin siya, sa nature, compared sa geometric shapes na maaaring gawa ng tao, at mas palagian natin siya nakikita dahil mas madali siyang gawin at mas madali siyang i-produce. Po tayong tinatawag na positive and negative shapes. So, pag sinabi po nating positive shapes, usually those which are the subject matter within a work of art. So, yung positive shape po is kung saan nakasentro yung artwork or yung focus ng isang artwork. At yung negative shape naman po or negative space, yun naman po yung tumutukoy sa background ng isang positive shape. So kung wala po ang mga elements na ito, ay hindi po makukumpleto ang architecture art. Dahil lahat po ng bawat isa dyan ay importante at may kanya-kanyang function na ginagampanan. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Medium of architecture. Since architecture is considered as the most functional of the arts, materials to be used in construction must have compressive and tensile strength. Compressive strength refers to those materials that can support heavy weights without crumbling or breaking down, while tensile strength refers to those materials that can withstand being pulled or stretched without breaking. The following are the materials that are used for creating buildings and infrastructures. Stones and bricks. Stones are favored over other materials for its durability, adaptability to sculptural treatment, and its use for building simple structures in its natural state. Lumber or wood. All part of a building can be constructed using wood except the foundation. Its major disadvantage are susceptibility to fire, mold, and termites. Iron and steel. The development of construction method using iron and steel was the most important innovation in architecture since ancient times. These methods provide far stronger and taller structures with less use of materials when compared to stone or wood. Concrete. This is a mixture of cement and water with aggregates of sand and gravel, which hardens rapidly, resulting in a fire-resisting solid and great comprehensive strength. Concrete can be poured into form while wet to produce great variety of structural elements. Concrete also provides an economical substitute for traditional materials, and it has ability to fuse with other materials, making the structure stronger.